Hello, good evening. My name is Kwabena Dako. Welcome to today. Welcome. I want to share with you what you can do in and after school. If you're in college, if you're in the university, if you're in the training college, the technical universities, if you happen to be in school, whether it's the first degree, whether it's the second degree, whether it's the third degree or the fourth one, whether it's yourself or your brother or your sister or your cousin, almost every one of us knows somebody who is into school or who has come out of school and who we all encourage to find something to do with their lives. And typically the advice that we give is send me your CV and then I'll help you to get a place to work, as if the work is out there and you just throw the CV in and tomorrow somebody else will call you. If you have ever been in that kind of condition where you were so much hopeful when you were in school that when you finish school you will get something to do with this course that they gave you, especially those who do the kind of courses that they are so much proud of, that they get out of school and they see that they still have another fight to do beyond the course that they did. What is it that you can do? Whether you are in school or whether you are out of school, what is it that you can tell your brother or your sister? What is it that you can do to support them to get something to do with their lives whilst in school or even after school? Because the reality is that we are producing so many people out of our colleges, out of our universities, and I don't see anything wrong with that per se. I think that everybody should be able to go to school, train their mind, have the confidence to approach anybody and speak maybe the language of commerce, the language, official language in the country with some bit of confidence. And I think that is what school gives us. The problem is that we try to extend what the school can do for us, because of the traditional way of looking at issues now. And conservatively, if you look at the schools that we have just in our country, maybe we have about 10, maybe 70 to 100 universities. I'm just being conservative. And let's say each of them is producing maybe 2,000 graduates every year. If you have 100 universities, it means that we are getting just about 200,000. That is just the universities. How about the private schools, the professional schools? How about the NVTIs? How about even those who don't get the opportunity to go to university, those who stop with the senior secondary level? How about those from the teaching side, the nursing? All those, we are producing them, and they are in good numbers. Now, if you compare that to the number of jobs that we are creating every year, you see that the percentages don't tally at all. Don't tally. And so you can have some parents who have had maybe 3-4 of their sons out of school, their daughters out of school, and almost all of them have been in the house for maybe a year, for 2, for 3 years, sometimes more than that. And usually after national service, if you work with any institution at all, after national service, they just let you know that they cannot absorb you. You have to go for another group of your kind to come and go through the national service as well. And these are the realities. You may overlook that when you have a place to work, but when you have just finished school and you are looking for a place to work and you have no connections, maybe no minister to help you, or no brother in a good position to just say that go in my name, it can be that frustrating. And yet there's something that we can do to help the situation improve, and that's what I'm going to talk about. So what you can do whilst you are in school and immediately that you come from school, what is it that you can do to help yourself? One of the things that you have to know is that you can be a young man but have very old ideas about life and about issues in life. And some of the old ideas that you can have is that once you have finished school, then somebody owes you a job, somebody owes you a living. You can finish school with that kind of thinking, and I think that is what creates the frustrations among those who go to school and finish school, where you think, because it's an idea that somebody put in you. If you look at the realities now, and if you look at the statistics, that idea has to be challenged now, where I've gone to school, therefore once I come out of school, somebody must help me get a job, somebody must help me to get salary. It's an entitlement idea, but if you look at it, even our economy did not go through that industrial revolution for us to even have that kind of thinking, because it's the industries, the revolution of the industries, that is what created the mind that I finished school, I have to get a job, and somebody else or the government or some business people are creating a lot of jobs. So when you finish school, they are waiting for me to come as a fresh graduate with a degree in business administration, or with an engineering degree, all kind of degrees that they give in the school. And so you are coming up boldly as if our economy has gone through industrial revolution, but our economy has not gone through that industrial revolution actually. And so the jobs are highly limited. We are producing a lot of graduates. Who should absorb them? Who are those creating the jobs? How many businesses can you identify in your city that can easily employ 200 people at a go, or 500 people at a go? Very few businesses in our country can employ 10 people at a go. You look at the statistics, even how many people can the government employ? The whole government machinery, with everybody included, maybe they are employing just about maybe 300,000, 400,000 or 500,000 kind of range. Yet in a year, we are producing about 200,000 to 300,000 graduates every year. And so when you have finished school for about 5 years, multiply that and see. Not just the graduates with basic degree, but even from the secondary level, or from the technical schools and from all other schools that we are pushing everybody to go. I am for the education. I am for people going to school to tune their mind. What I think we should look again is where you come out with the idea that because you have gone to school, somebody else must give you a job. And so when you don't have a job, it means that you have failed and you become frustrated. It's not true. We should just compare the percentages well and be realistic that a lot of these people who are finishing school are not going to get the so-called jobs that they think that their degree deserves. So where they wear suit, they wear tie, they're given car, they go to sit in a clean office, they are paid substantial amount of money. Very few people will get that kind of job. Maybe the nurses can get employment easily. But even when you get a government who comes to mess up, they can put a hold on a lot of the employment, or maybe the teachers can get some kind of work easily, or sometimes the doctors. The rest of us would have to find our own way, because unless you get some connections in the government sector, civil service kind of job, which the people are always even changing their date anyway, so they are pushing their retirement forward, which means that the percentage of jobs, of vacancies in the government sector is very little. And if you look at it, to the businesses that can employ 200, 300, 400 people at a go and pay them well are also very few. So you are going to see businesses that can employ just about 1 or 2 people who are going to be everywhere. So the idea must change, that when you are in school, you don't just focus on the course and think that once you finish school, they are going to give you a job and give you car and talk. That is an old idea. That is an old idea which is not going to hold, especially going forward for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. A lot of things are changing. So when you are in school, don't be so much fascinated about the course that you are doing, thinking that when you finish, somebody else will give you a job. Nobody is going to create a job with that course anyway. If you look at the course that you're doing, let's say you are doing computer science, even the gift or the skills that they give you in that course, the job market may not even be ready for that, or the job market may have gone ahead of that. because very few people do computer science or do programming, and by the time that they finish their school, they can do something significant with the course that they did. And so the idea, you can be a young man and your ideas are very old. And one of it is when you just finish school and you think that somebody should give you a job. There's nothing wrong with going for the job if you have it, but you cannot come out of school thinking that you deserve a job, and that when you don't get a job, then somebody else is failing their work. No, it's not like that. The school is separate from the life or the job or the career that you can build. They are separate, because if you are being fair with yourself and being honest, the rate at which the jobs are being created is not the same rate at which we are producing a lot of these graduates. And so don't wait till you finish school and carry that idea that you deserve a job and somebody should give you a job, and that you go around writing about 1,000 CVs and going for every interview, going for everything that you hear that they're giving jobs. Maybe there's nothing wrong with that, which is true, but sometimes you can be so much frustrated not being called, because a lot of the jobs that you will call decent usually are already gone. Especially if you don't have a very special skill that they need, and you are just a general, you are not trained, you don't have any technical expertise, then you are just like any other. So the course, if you did psychology, if you did social science, if you did those kind of courses that they still do in our universities, even though there are very few positions for those kind of courses, you come out, you are just like anybody else. And so you are going to get a place. The first one is maybe through some connections, not because you qualify, because there are a lot of people with the same kind of skill that you have, the same kind of understanding that you have. So this is something that you have to look at, that once you're in school, you are training yourself with a course, and then you are building your future, and you separate the two. Don't confuse the two, that I'm doing agric engineering, therefore that is the only thing I'm focusing on whilst I'm in school, and when I finish school, I take my CV and my certificate and go and look for work. You may be disappointed that the seniors before you, 4 years, 5 years, are still trying to find a place to work, because not many people are creating jobs in such areas anyway. And it's not only your side, it's everywhere. Those who are finishing marketing, those who are finishing administration, all kind of courses that they are throwing out there, there are very few jobs that are being created. Those are the realities. And so if you can look at that and start to develop yourself, then you have a fair advantage. And so you see that the obvious jobs that people are creating now is just to become political activists. So right from school they follow politics, which is not a bad idea, but really you need some kind of experience beyond before you even go into politics. So develop yourself in school, and do away with that thinking that somebody else should help you get a job. And don't raise the cost so much. I don't know if the people still carry that kind of thinking. Well, when we were in school, we saw that. Those of us who were doing science, we thought that we were a bit ahead of those who were doing maybe general art or something. And when you went to the university, the same. Those who were doing some certain kind of courses felt like they have better prospects. That's why actually some courses, they take the best of the grades, because they think that there is market for that. I think that is an error. So you look at yourself in school. You don't just choose course because you think that there will be job market so much for that. Then you choose the course that you think you can do something with your life, because that is what is also creating the frustration, because you were conditioned to pick a course based on the good grades that you had, and you're thinking that because I had all the A's, after school I will get a job, because the other guy who had maybe BBB was giving maybe supposedly an inferior course. And so you, with the best grades, you are conditioned that once you finish school, the course is so marketable. Don't buy that, because whatever course that you have, it's the businesses that are being created that are going to create the opportunities for people who are looking for jobs to have. And the thing is that the businesses that can take 10, 20, 50 people are not many, because not many are created such jobs. And so you can have 100 of your kind, and maybe 2 or 3 or 4 will be taken in this specific area. So you don't go to school thinking that once you are in school, you are doing your best to get the first class and whatever class that they get, and you don't develop any other thing at all. If you are that kind of material, the best place that you will get a place to work is probably in academia or in the research. And even in the academia, now we are producing a lot of graduates, a lot of PhD people. So with time, you see that those will also become a bit more, especially with the kind of courses that people are doing a PhD in. So condition yourself and tell your friends and your family, because these are the realities. They finish school and they become very frustrated. We get to interview some of them, and you see that those are the realities. So they finish school, the next minute, if they don't find anything to do after the national service, they don't know what to do. Some of them can be in the house for a very long time, waiting for somebody to employ them. So the idea that you have to finish school and get a job is no more valid idea, especially when we have not gone through a lot of industries being created. So a lot of the businesses that we do here are based on importation, and consumer market is not creating a lot of jobs because the value chain is only at the end. We are just consuming. So study the kind of environment that you live in and study the reality. So when you're not getting jobs or when you're not getting a place, you see all the politicians, all the African politicians, or the experts, the consultants, they are all saying unemployment is a problem. Maybe it's a problem because of the conditioning. It's not a problem when we can help the people to think differently, to think beyond the idea that I have to finish school to get a job. And so if I go to school and I finish and I don't get a job, it means that I've failed. I think that there's more to life, and the advantages that school will give you is more, or they are more than just getting a job. Getting a job is just one of the advantages that you get out of going to school, especially if it's your first degree kind of thing. So you can be a young person and your ideas will be very old. And one of it is that you still think about maybe 50 years ago, 100 years ago, the way people thought. Because some time ago, when people had degrees in our country, they were ready to be employed in the locality right fast because they were the first to have gone to school. They were the first to have gone to school in the community, in the family, in the village. Now you are not the first. A lot of people have gone before you, and a lot of them are not even trying to find the so-called decent jobs. So that idea that you finish and somebody else will come to you and give you a job is no more valid. So you have to interpret the reason why you are going for that degree in the first place, so that you don't get frustrated and you don't get to join the people who have formed organizations to say that we are unemployed. You don't finish school to become unemployed. You finish school, you have some basic tools. Now you have to make meaning out of your life. So we will get into that. So what I'm saying is that stop being old person in a young person's body, where you think your ideas are old, and you will go every length to defend such ideas. And it's amazing where you have the graduates, especially those who did the arts, how fantastically they can debate and analyze a lot of things. But the reality is certain that the jobs are not as many as the ones that we are producing, especially the ones that you call a decent job. So what you do while you are in school can help you to get the right network and the right skills to start something with your life when you finish school. What you do, how you spend your time. See, you're a human being with some gift, with some qualities. If you will sit down to study those things and think, you are in school, you are doing a certain course, what can you innovate? What can you create? What is it that you can develop while you're in school? If somebody told you that when you get to school, the first year, start to develop something, start to think of something, what product can you work on? What thing that you can change something on and say that this is my product and work on it? Other than you just being focused on just the course content. Any course that you are doing at all, there is an idea that you can develop, which is not your project to get a certificate, but your project to make something meaningful out of your life when you finish school. So put something on your mind. You get to the first year, what is it? Go through town, go through the community, see the problems. What is it that you can develop? It may not be a perfect idea, but every human being can develop something. Is it a water bottle that you can redesign it and see what kind of water you can put in? You can give yourself a life project whilst you're in school. Is it a book that you can write? Is it a school that you can open? What is it that you can develop? What product can you come up with? What service, what idea can you develop while you're in school? And so you focus on the school to get the exam, right, to get the degree, to get passed, but there's another thing that you're working on while you're in school. You know, because you see your life more than just finishing school, taking the certificate to get a job. If somebody can convince you that go to school to get a certificate and get a job, another person can tell you that idea, if you talk to your seniors who have gone before you, go and ask them. Some of them, if they had told us that, some of us, if they had told us that, well, if you're in school, get committed to developing something, an idea. And if per chance you can develop something that is needed that can be sold and a business can be built around it, you have solved. Be looking out to look at in terms of jobs. You know, people who get occupied right after school are people with a project to do with their lives. So even in school, you see that their time is still very limited because they have something that they are committed to and they are working. And that's why nobody should tell you. It should be something that you should commit to. So the idea that I'm finishing school, somebody is waiting for me, I think that it should just be carried or borne by maybe 5 to 3 or 3 to 5% of the student body. 90% or more should be committing themselves into working on a product or something right from the day that they enter the school. You know, and it may not even be something in line with your course. It may be something that you're just passionate about, that you're ready to develop. And if you can commit to that, you will see that by the time that you are through with the 4 years, you have a whole setup that you are running, and you may even be employing people while you're in school. And that is where the world is going. And so don't. There's so much you can do so far as you are conditioned to think differently. You know, so what you do while you're in school will help you to get the right network and the right skill. So think beyond the privilege and the pride and the arrogance that you attribute to the kind of course that you're doing. I'm doing architecture, I'm doing civil engineering, I'm doing agriculture engineering, I'm doing this. They don't mean anything. That is the truth. Because you are not the one doing it. You are not the only person doing it. There are a lot of your mates doing that. I'm doing mathematics, I'm doing chemistry, I'm doing pharmacology. Those things don't mean anything. If you're doing pharmacy, what drug can you take and improve and go through the whole chain to get it approved from the state department, from the standard boards or wherever they get the approval? Can you put yourself through that once you enter the university? So once you enter school, you pick a product that you want to develop beyond your thesis. I'm not talking of your thesis. Something that you're passionate about, that you're working to solve problems. Is it a food product that you can work on? Is it chemical? Is it a biological product? What is it that you can do? Is it a wood product that you can develop? Is it a building product? What is it that you can do? You commit to that. And a lot of it, if somebody tells you that for the next 4 years that you are going to do this course, take something that you can innovate, improve on, and see how you can build an enterprise around it. Your life, by the time you finish school, you have the whole thing. Your time will be so much consumed, you know what to do once you finish school. And you may be lucky to even build a business right in school. You know, so it's the old idea that I'm in school, so I focus on the book. Some of our parents will even be angry if you're in school and you're trying to do something alongside. Because all that they knew, because they grew up in an environment where when they were in school, they were even being fed free of charge. And they were hate, university were back crashing. Now nobody cares about those things anymore, you know. But the parents can still carry this kind of thought to their sons and their daughters, and this kind of thought are old thought, because nobody is waiting for you to clap for you because you have finished the degree. They don't care. Nobody cares, because there are a lot of your kind anyway, you know. And no government don't believe all the politicians what they are telling you, because a lot of them had nothing to do until they got into politics. So what makes you think that they're going to do something to help you? So it's your life. You take charge of it. Once you enter somewhere, you enter the college, occupy yourself with that. And if you can occupy yourself with that, it may start slowly. Some of you who can easily go to computer school and learn coding, and learn programming, and learn something to do. A lot of applications that people are developing. There's a lot. You can start a farm. There are a lot that you can commit yourself to once you're in school. Don't deceive yourself that if you get first class, then you get the best of job. You are going to compete with a lot of people. And sometimes it could be frustrating before you even get a place to work. And sometimes what they pay you, you may be very, very sad after all the things that you put in to get the degree. Sometimes you'll be disappointed so much, even at the national service level, where they post you can easily make you give up in life, you know. So look at how your parents are and understand things when it comes to you starting anything whilst you're in school. Because most people, if you had parents at all and they went to school, most of them, if they were not close to innovating something and starting something with their lives or in business, they may not encourage you to start anything at all. You know, so like people who are doing human biology, for instance, they only focus on the course. It's okay. But if you're going to live life beyond the course that they gave you, school, because you cannot describe all your life with the 4 years that you spent in the university. You have to describe your life with a product, with something that you built and something that you change lives with. And so the school is just a bit of your personality. And it should not occupy all your thinking. And that's why people get frustrated when they finish school and they feel like somebody should help them. That thinking is an old thinking. It's an old thinking because you're going to compete for a lot of jobs that don't exist. And we don't know those who are going to start to create a lot of jobs to absorb this number of people we are producing from the colleges that quickly. We don't know. So you might as well see yourself beyond just finishing school and priding yourself with a certain course and thinking that when you finish the school, somebody else is going to give you and welcome you and give you a very nice package in terms of employment, whilst you have no skill at all. It's not going to work. Nobody is going to do that for you. And so retune your life, retune your thinking. Don't be old in thinking. Not even for the people who live in an industrialized countries, because even that, the jobs now are not there. If you look at it, they are competing big time with immigrants, with a lot of people. So and beyond that, you want to live a fulfilling life just beyond jobs. Because sometimes you may even get a job and you may not be so much happy and fulfilled, and you may not feel like you're making any meaningful contribution with your life. Why? Because you are not living out of your creativity, out of your innermost being. So most of their pride, your parents, most of their pride will come from the fact that the son, the daughter is working with an established organization. And so if you get yourself involved in some of these things that can become a business, most parents will not be welcoming. But tune yourself like that, because you should be able to understand the generation that they grew up in. They did not grew up in with a lot of people looking for jobs. When they finished school, the jobs were there. So they still subconsciously carry that kind of thing around, forgetting that 4 of their sons have finished college, 5 of their sons have finished college, and they are all still looking for jobs. So there's nothing wrong going to school and getting yourself educated. I think it helps, especially where we are. I think that being able to go to college is a good thing. But don't waste your time when you are in school. 4 years is a long time. And if you see anybody who tries to do something right after school, you will see that a lot of them were occupied whilst in school. They were doing something with their lives. Look at the sportsmen, for instance. Those who get to play in the national team and things like that. From the secondary school level, they were involved. Playing. You know, they were playing. Those, whether it's football, all kind of sports that they have in school. They were occupied. They were developing a skill. And so once they finish the school, you see that another team absorbs them and they have a career set for them. But when you were in school, what were you doing? You were just writing for the exam. And you had thousands of your kind writing the same exam without developing any other skill at all. So what clicks you? It means that the competition is going to be very tough for you, because all of you are coming to the country or are coming out of school with virtually the same skill, the same expertise, fighting for very limited number of jobs. You know, so it is going to be that difficult if you don't develop yourself beyond what everybody has. You know, so develop yourself with books beyond the course that you are reading. Build yourself, commit to reading, commit to studying, build the knowledge. If you don't build the knowledge, you can't see anything. And the knowledge is not the thermodynamics that they are teaching you, it's not the quantum mechanics that they are teaching you, it's not the management that they are teaching you, it's not the what are some of the things that they taught in all these courses, applied mathematics, those things. That is not the kind of knowledge that I'm talking of. Those knowledge are for the exam and the certificate. I'm talking of the knowledge that will extract, help you to come up with a product, with a service, with something that you can innovate, something that you can upgrade and say, this is what I worked on. So that is the kind of knowledge that I'm talking of. Read books about things like that. How do you produce something? Read a book on that. How do you innovate? How do you build a business? How do you build a skill? How do you upgrade yourself? Those kind of things are the things that are going to separate you from the rest of your mates. And so the problem is not that you have finished school and you don't have a job. The problem is that when you were in school, you were not preparing not to live without a job. You are not preparing yourself. You are preparing yourself only for job, and that is a weak argument, and that is an idea which does not hold. If you don't believe it, just see anybody just post any job vacancy on the internet, and you give your email address there, and you see the number of people who will write to you. And sometimes the job may be menial, and you'll be shocked the kind of degrees, the kind of people who will be writing to you. It's not even those who are working, because some of them can be fired from the job and they are back to square one looking for a place to work. And in an economy that maybe half of the works are just through who do you know, who is linking you, half of it, or maybe 60-70% of the jobs are coming from who is recommending you, and then maybe 30% are fought fairly, the decent jobs, so to say. So when you don't have that kind of privilege from the family background, from where you live, then when you are schooling, don't joke. If it's a job that you have to pick to learn something, pick that job. If there is some part-time skill that you can pick a retail, that now there are the places where people are, you can easily go to ShopRite to say that I'm a student in this university, I want to work part-time. And you'll be shocked the kind of skill that you will develop. Because what we have seen is that most people start to work only at the national service level. And that is just about when you're about 20, 23. And that's very late for you to start to work. Which means you don't even know how to work, let alone how to develop an idea into anything. So, if somebody started to work when they were 13, and you are starting to work when you're 23, that person has worked for 10 years. They have more skill than you. So you can understand the reason why some people are calling themselves, I finished university and I don't have any job. Because you started working late. And national service should not be your first job. If national service is your first job, you have wasted 10 years of your life without knowing how to work. So which means you have very bad work ethics, you have no skill, you have no network, you don't even have an understanding of how to take instructions. And that's why when they come out of school, they feel so proud of the degree. And nobody respects the degree that you think you have, because the person you are going to meet, they also have the same degree or even better than yours. So don't go anywhere thinking that your degree will pave way for you. It's not going to pay any way for you. It's what you can do beyond the degree that is going to pay the way for you. And so work on your understanding. Work on your understanding. Make friends, if you're in school, make friends with people who are working on some kind of idea. People who seem to be ambitious. Make friends with those. Don't just make friends with those who are just only infatuated with getting good grades. Because you need a good grades, but the good grades are just for the school and the certificate. Nobody cares about your good grades anymore. You can go and get your master's and your PhD if it's the academia that you want to go. But the good grades are not for the job market, so to say. It's because people don't even believe in the course content in the first place. Most people who are looking for people who work hard they are not looking at your course content or your degree, because they don't trust the course content in the first place. So whether you have A or you have 0, nobody cares about what you are coming out with the university. What you are coming out with from the university, nobody cares. Sometimes they don't even care about your course. They don't even care about your course that you're reading. They want to know what you can do. And you cannot depend on the school and the content that you develop for the exam to do anything beyond that. Because you may be lazy, because you started working late, You may be over pompous of the fact that you think that you have, how degree can get into people's head, the fact that they have finished tertiary institution. When they come to the office, the first thing they want to talk about is about their degree, and nobody cares about your degree. So get used to that. You are not the only person with degree now. People now are looking for people who are productive, who are creative, who are hardworking, who are committed. And so if you get a project whilst you're in school, you enter the school first year, what is it that I can work on? And if you succeed in working on one idea, you can work on 2 ideas, 3 ideas, 4 ideas. By the time you finish school, you are not the one looking for jobs, looking for people to help you. Even if you will need a job, by the time you go through the interview, they will give you the job, because you are coming with a skill. You are coming with some ethics. You are coming with some attitude, how to work, how to deliver results. And so don't let the degree, I'm saying that don't let the degree get into your head so much. That's an old idea. Nobody cares about your degree. And if you look at the statistics, you'll be fine. That the people who don't have jobs are people who did nothing when they were in school. So their only confidence was in the course and in the grade. And they pass the exam and they pass well. And that's why they can't do anything and they go to get another degree. And they can't do another thing and they go to get another degree. Why? Because they were not running with a modern idea. They still hinge on a very old idea. So study beyond the course that you're doing, because the economy or the country has changed. You have so many graduates now. So forget about you being so much enthused. If you're in school, nobody really cares about you. So don't carry that. That's the sense I'm trying to tell you. And be humble enough to take anything that you can do whilst in school. Even if you cannot innovate an idea, you can take a job and learn about a certain trade. You can take teaching. You can take a part-time job. You can work in a restaurant. You can do something all the time. You can help people to type their project, something, and they make you develop skill that you will need after school. And so people who become redundant and limited in thinking is because they only focus on the school. Okay, so work on your understanding of finances and how the world operates. The world operates differently from what they are telling you in school. It's very much different. So work on that. Work on that, and work on what you think success will mean for you. There's a lot that you need to do. And what do you want to do with your life generally? So you do that. I am talking about what you can do in and after school. Every one of us knows somebody who is looking for a job. Every one of us has a friend, has a brother who is frustrated with finishing with their degree, some of them second degree, looking for a place to work. And almost all the time, we all want to do something to help them. But I think that what we could do to help them is when they are doing the course, when they are in the college, the ideas that they are developing, how they are using their time, how they are using their life, is what is going to separate them. That is what is going to prevent them from becoming liability. And you don't just pick a course because you think that there will be job for it. Because your life is more than just a job. How about when you get that job and they fire you? That's why some doctor schools stay in the house for 4 years. Because they only went to do medicine and they cannot do anything at all apart from medicine. Why do you let a course hinge your life and restrict you so much in this life? You did medicine, nobody is employing you. What prevents you from starting a farm? You cannot start the farm because when you were in school, the only thing that you committed your life to do or to learn was just the course. And that is where the problem is. It's not really that there are no jobs. No. The thing is that we have produced young men and women who are old in thinking. The ideas don't apply anymore. The ideas and the realities on the ground don't match. That is the truth. That is the truth. So when you meet any young boy who is frustrated looking for a job everywhere, ask them, when you were in school, what were you doing? They were just studying for the grade to pass, to get first class. I am not enthused with those things. No, I am not at all. I'm enthused with what you can do. Like the way that we were very much happy and we were jubilating with this science and maths quiz program they were doing. An evolving economy where we are not creating any product. We're still celebrating literature. They should rather be coming up with product and competing on product on the science, what they have used the science to do, not the mathematics that they are calculating. We have a lot of intelligent mathematicians around and we are not producing anything. We have a lot of intelligent engineers who are just consultants. They are not coming out with anything. They can only criticize. That's it. They are not starting anything at all. And that is how we are producing. If you raise the course and the academics with science and math quiz and all those things that we are trying to debate, they still debate on radio. For a country that needs a lot of people to commit their life to produce something, to solve solutions, to solve problems, we are still looking at debates. Who was 1965? Who was this? 1975? What are we going to do with that kind of knowledge? We don't need them. We are producing about 200,000, 300,000 graduates every year who are looking for a place to work. And the only reason they are not having places to work is because we are not able to develop ideas that we can build businesses around. So very few people are able to create a business to employ 2, 3, 4 people, let alone 100 or 200 kind of people. Very few people can do that. And very few people are really committed to do that. Yet, if you look at the percentage of the people coming out of the university, just about 3 or 4% should be going to look for a job. The 90% should be people who would have used their life in the school to have tried an idea, and right after the school they are ready to build something around that idea. And it may not even be part of the course that they read. It may just be something that they are passionate about and that they have been able to create a product around it, and they are going to test the market to see if that product that they created works at all, and if they can build a business around it. And that is the thinking that the graduates must have. So the problem is not really that the jobs are not there. The problem is that the graduates were not helped to think, to face the realities of the economy that they live in. And that is the problem. And the family does not even support that kind of thinking. When you were in school, very few parents will encourage you to work on any idea at all, or friends. If you did not go for the lecture, everybody felt like we're lazy man. And sometimes, let's face it, some of the lectures we didn't even need them. But they box you in the class. 4 years of your life, they were teaching you something that you only need about 3, 4, 4 or 10%. But they force you to go to the lab that you didn't want to go to the field that you didn't want to go. And in so doing, they so much limited the possibilities that you can see. And so if you're a young man and you're in school, or you have finished school, challenge those ideas now. You have to challenge them. Take the old ideas from your head. Because there's so much you can do with your life if you can switch that thinking. That somebody else must help me. Somebody else must give me a job. Because I did this course, this is the only thing I can do with my life. Change those. You can do so many things. The great philosophers in history, some of them were lawyers, some of them were doctors. They did almost everything at the same time. They became, I didn't do those kind of things, but I know some of the people who are renowned created so many things with their lives, not just one. Some of them created almost a product from every sphere of life, whether it's medicine, whether it's law, whether it's food, whether it's a chemical. They created a lot of things because they schooled themselves across board, and they were living to make, they were living their life to make impact, not to get a job. And so it's conditioning. And the information that they have given you can make you strong or they can make you weak. And so far, if they condition you to just look for a job and look for employment, that information can make you so weak that when you finish school, you become so frustrated. And that should never be the case at all. And so the time that you have in school, that's a good time to also work on a product, work on an idea. What is it that you can think through? What is it that you can innovate? No matter the course that you're doing. Forget about I'm doing marketing. And so what? Who cares about marketing? What is it that you can see and change? Is it that you can pick the phone and redesign it? And do the research and say, okay, if I redesign this phone, what is it that I'm going to do? Who would help me manufacture this phone? What application do I need? Just use it as a project, even if you can't build a business around it. By the time that you go through that thing for 6 months, you will see that you are a different person. Just test yourself. Okay, I'm going to produce pineapple. So you take it as a project. Now you start to read about it. Who will buy it? Where do you have the land? What kind of technology you are going to use? Just do it, even on your computer, and come out with a document. You said, I want to produce pineapple, and then start to go and look for the people who buy that pineapple. Go to talk to the market women, what they want, and you'll be shocked the kind of data that you have just within 2 months. Just any idea. You are in school. When the lecture is off, you are not sleeping, you are not watching movie. Why? Because they are producing a lot of your kind who are only waiting to be employed. And the jobs, nobody is going to create them. The government cannot create the jobs to absorb this kind of graduates that we are producing. They cannot. And even if they create them, they will give it to their children or their sons. You know? So you use the same time that you have. Even if it's not a product that you can create, can you go to the market and get something that you can find people to sell to? Don't be so much happy with the course that you're doing, which a lot of people have gone through, and when they finish the course, they can't find anything to do with their lives. You know, and that is the frustration. It's the thinking. It's not because there is no market, there's no job. That's not the essence. Is that your life is more than the job that you're waiting for. And so, if you have a son, if you have a daughter, if you have somebody who is going through the school, you encourage them to use their head. The times have changed. There is the internet. There's a lot of things that people are doing. Commit your life to doing something. Sometimes it will just be a training ground for the greater things that you can do. And it will only come from the switch of mind. So when you're in the class and you see the boys who are always busy doing something, mark them. Those are the ones who are going to start businesses, going to create products, going to build empires. It's not the one who is always reading the book and calculating to get a maths. Nobody cares about your maths. Just full of fear. And when I look at around my friends who were able to start something, they were the guys who were just recalcitrant, so to say. They were the stubborn ones. And look at your mates. Those who are stubborn, who are always trying to do something in school, they are the ones who are using their time well. Not the ones who are studying. You are so much focused on the course and you are so much happy with the grades you are getting. They mean nothing. Some people didn't even go to the school in the first place. And they have created something. And some of the jobs that when you finish school, you are going to get, most of the people who created these jobs didn't even go to school. They didn't go to school. They don't even have the education that you have. So what makes you think that course that you're doing is so much important beyond the life that you can create? It's a mental shift. And you can be a young man and think as old as that. And you're so happy to get a job. And when you finish and there's no job, you feel like you are nothing. No, it's because you didn't use your time well. You know, you didn't use your time well. And sometimes it's not even the students, because some of the young boys who are 20, 15, 18 in the school, sometimes they are trying to do something. But the family can put so much pressure on you that you may even start. Some of them will get angry when they see that you are using your life to develop a business, to develop an idea, to work with something. Some of the lecturers will even be very unkind with you, just because you are not following what they are teaching you so much, and you are trying to make meaning of your life. And if you study well and you read books well, those who try to do something are the ones who are always opposite to the norm. So if you're following everything that they're teaching you, fantastic, you just get great. Maybe you will just be one of the a few people who just have to become academic or researchers. But I'm not sure 100% of the graduates that we are producing who can be absorbed in academia. No, we need them in the job market. We need them to think, to create. And so the time that you have in the school, that's the time that you are going to use to work on a product, to work on an idea. Even if it doesn't work, do something, become busy. When we were in school, we were very stubborn. Did we know what we were doing? No, we were reading a lot of books and we just try anything. Sometimes it doesn't work, we don't even know. And we kept on trying. And we kept on trying. And we kept on trying. And that's why when you finish school, you are not afraid to be on your own. Because you're stubborn already. You were opposite everybody. And so when you are proud that you're doing something with your life after school, and if you don't have anything to do, you don't care about what people think. Why? Because you didn't care. You put that thing in you. And that's the spirit that you need to create the life that you want and create something. So don't wait to finish school to go and look for a place to work. Sometimes, if you are in this country, that will not be there. And yet you have just trained yourself to be a conformist. You never challenge any idea at all that they gave you. And those ideas, 90% of those ideas don't work. If they work, we will not have this number of people looking for jobs. All right? Knowing very well that nobody's creating the job. And that's what amazes me. Instead of you looking for the jobs, rather do studies on how many people are creating jobs. Do some study on that. So who are the ones creating the jobs? That we are all looking for them. And you will see that none of you, they are all like you, they are not creating anything. So you might as well be the one person who is creating something. So I'm saying that challenge the ideas that they told you. Some of them, you may be a young person, but your ideas may be very, very old. And one of it is that once I finish school, somebody must give me a place, a job. And it must come with a big salary, a car, it must come with a house. I should go and wear suit and tie, those kind of things. Very few people will get that. And it's likely that it may not be you, especially if you're not well connected. if you don't know anybody, it may not be you. So you might as well study and have some passion to create a life that you want. So the idea that you have to finish school and get a job is not more valid, because the percentages don't show that. It's no more valid. So don't confuse yourself. And what you do while you're in school will help you to get the right network and the right skill, and that will push you to do something. Sometimes you may even be able to build a business in school, or build a product, or make something meaningful with your life while you're in school. And so once you finish and you are not looking for anything, you would have had your life set out right away, because you use your time well, beyond the lecture note, beyond the lecture theater. If you look at the hours if you look at your timetable for the whole year in the school, you see that you can compress everything and do everything sometimes within even 2 months. So 10 months of the time in the school, you're just there sleeping, paying rent, and doing nothing. A whole week, sometimes a whole week, people will go for lectures 2 days. Now the 4 days or the 5 days, what are they doing? They're watching a movie. They're debating. They are going for all these kind of meetings. That's why when you finish school, you don't have a job. And that is it. You don't have a job, because when you had only 2 days lecture, and the 7 days or the 6 days, you did nothing. You can go and learn how to sew clothes, how to make shoes, how to design something, and start to produce. And everything that you produce, there is always somebody there who will buy. Everything that you work on, just work on anything, just any idea. You want to sew shirt, go and sew that shirt, and you see that you can sell them to your friends in school. Go and pick those phones and sell them to your friends in school. The computer, what is it that you can do? Start to do something, because that is what will separate you from those who will be looking for jobs right after school. And maybe you'll be the one giving them jobs. And so if you study all the businessmen who have ever done something, who started in school, go and look at how they use their time. All the innovators, all the creators, go and look for them. And so don't get stuck with the old idea that you're just in school to make the good grades. That's an old idea. Make your good grades, but nobody will care. Nobody will care about your good grades. If you want to live the life that you are proud of and create the life that you want, you must as well look how you're using your time to create something meaningful. And that's why a lot of them can only go into politics and law and what again? Start a church, those kind of things. Because that one, you're not creating a lot of things with your mind. So look for that. And not a lot of us will get that opportunity to go into politics or those defined paths. Majority of us would have to find a job. And the argument is that a lot of these jobs don't exist. And so, which means that's why you have a lot of them looking for, the terms that they are using to describe themselves. So it's a shift of mind. It's a shift of mind. So look at that and do something. 90% of the time, of the free time that you have in school, work on an idea. Do something. If you are in tech, go to KJT or go and buy something, come and sell in school. You are not wasting your time. The few people who challenge you are people who are doing nothing with their time. They don't even understand the times that they live in. And the people who probably will not live here and the ones, then they will start to get agitated, and then they have to go and do another course somewhere. Do the course. If you want to do something to supplement the course, do something that you can create something physical or something virtual with. Something that you can create to get money out of. And so look at how your parents have conditioned you. And sometimes you may have to start something without even telling them. If they are the ones who are getting angry all the time because you are trying to do something while you're in school, then you may not have to even discuss with them so far as you are not doing anything that is off the mark, that is against the law, just build what you have to build, because you know the life that you're going to live in. The same parents, if you finish school and you don't have anything to do, they will be the one to say that you have made us spend our money on something, and what are you doing with the school that we sent you to? And that will be a very painful thing to hear from your mother, from your father, that what are you doing? After we have sent you to school, we thought that when you finish school you will come and do something, and now we are still the one buying food for you, paying your rent, and after 3 years of you finishing school, you are not doing anything. It will be very frustrating, very painful. And this is what a lot of graduates who did not commit themselves in doing something in the house, in the school, while they were in school, go through when they finish school. And I'm sure every one of us has somebody like that. Sometimes you can be in the house for 5 years, 7 years, looking for somewhere to work. And yet, if you had committed your life into doing something with your free time in school, your mind would have been clear. Because those ideas would have been challenged, and those old ideas are challenged when you start to do something. Then you see the world differently. So look at that. Look at the things that you can start with while you're in school. And if you commit to that, after school will never be a problem. No matter how long it takes you to get anything done, you will never be worried, because you would have built those muscles while you're in school. So you're not afraid. People who are that much concerned of what people think when they even start a business is because they did not spend that much time in school trying to do something. Okay, so most of their pride, your parents, most of their pride, obviously, will be in you working with well-organized, companies, or you becoming, those things that they describe. And you may not even have the resources, the money, or you may not even have the link to create that, and you may have to just create with where you are. And this usually refers to people who are coming from, family backgrounds where nobody is trying to help you anyway. So you must as well help yourself. And drop the degree, drop it. Don't raise it so much, because nobody cares about it. When I interview people for anything, I don't even look at their grade. I don't look at their course. I'm talking to them. I want to hear the grammar you're speaking. I want to hear what you have achieved. I want to see your character. Are you that person who can be corrected? Are you that person who can work hard? Are you that person who can think on their feet? Or you are that person who is complaining for the letter, looking for more for the letter that you put in? And those, when you start to do something in school, you get those kind of wrong ideas from your head quickly. So develop yourself with books, beyond, read. Because that's the only way you're going to replace the old ideas in your head. Read books, buy books beyond the course, buy books beyond the lab report, buy books beyond all the things that they require from you in school. I'm not saying don't pass the school, pass, but you are the only one who is going to be happy with your first class. And probably your parents. Nobody else cares. You have a lot of first class people who have nothing to do. But if you commit to do something, to prove something, to come out with a product, to think, you will see that you will be something. You don't know what can be built around that. So make friends with people who are ambitious. There's always that kind of group of people on campus who are always busy trying to do something. Those are the people that you link up with if you want to jump these unemployment issues that are waiting. If you want to be ahead of that, there are always somebody who is taking his camera, moving around, shooting videos for people, taking pictures for people. Somebody is always trying to develop something, sew clothes, do something, sew some products, sell it to those kind of people. Look at them. They are the ones who are always starting something after school, who are not waiting for anybody. Because what you put in time is what time will give you. So look for that. It's very much important if you don't want to finish school and just be happy with your grade and be looking for a job. Build your psyche on that. So get friends with that and develop your understanding of how things are built, how things are innovated. Develop your understanding on business, on finances. Think differently and explain what success will mean to you beyond the school that you are in. And work on your life mission. What is it that your life is about? Study, pick a document, work on that. Take a project, even if you don't implement it. By the time you have done 3, 4, 5 of the scenarios, you have enough confidence to try one. And that's how it all starts. And so thank you very much. My name is Kwabena. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. You can send a video to somebody who has finished school or somebody who's in school studying anything, and tell them that this is something that will help them. Thank you very much. This is something that will help them. You can also share them, send them in the messenger to your friends, share them on your page. Help people to learn something, because one of the most difficult things for us as Africans is our flexibility in changing our mind, in welcoming knowledge, in study beyond the status quo. That is one of the challenges that we have. We are not adaptable. We don't easily change our thinking. We don't easily change the way we see life. We don't easily change. We don't easily embrace new ideas. Even if when we are suffering, we still get stuck with the old one, thinking that it will work. And people who are malleable, so to say, in their thoughts, are people who are developing themselves all the time. And so, commit to that, and let's see what happens. So that's what I think, and that's what I see. People who are ready to do something with their lives commit to building something with their life. So I have talked to you about what to do, or what you can do in school or after school, so that you can offset, you can jump ahead of you becoming a frustrated graduate, very confused in life, waiting for a job and writing applications everywhere, and after 5 years you're still waiting for somebody and you feel like you're a failure in life. No, you are not a failure. You can always restart something. And if you can change the way you look at life and think about some of the things that you think are so much important, which may not be that much important, you will be able to do a lot with your life. So thank you for watching, and share with friends. And if you get to start anything on campus or once you're in school, be proud of it and read it. You live in a different time. There's a lot of information now. There's a lot of ideas on YouTube. Go and look for them. Watch how people are making things happen. Read a lot of articles, read a lot of books. Read beyond what you're doing, and you'll be amazed what you can do with your life, and be proud of whatever you turn out to do with your life. So thank you for watching. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much.